Rigveda, hymn 5.86, Indra Agni, 6 verses. The mortal man whom ye between Indra and Agni help in fight breaks through Ian's strong guarded wealth as Trita burst his way through reeds between invincible and war, worthy to be renowned and praised. Lord of the fivefold, people these Indra and Agni invoke. Impetuous is their strength, and keen the lightning of the mighty pair, which from their arms speeds with the car to lift their slave for the kind. Indra and Agni ye invoke ye both as set to send your cars, lords of quick coming bounty, ye who know, chief lovers of the song. These who give increase day by day, gods without guile, for mortal man, worthy themselves I honor most. 2 gods as partners for my horse. The strength bestowing offering thus to Indra Agni hath been paid, as butter purified by stones. Deal to our princes high renown. Deal wealth to those who sing your praise. Deal food to those who sing your praise. And, praying for the bestowal of food is just fine. And even if we know where we're getting our food, it's a good idea. Hymn 5.87, Marutas, to Vishnu, to the mighty, whom the Marutas follow, let your hymns, born in song, go forth. Eva Ya Marut, to the impetuous, strong band, adorned with bracelets that rushes on in joy and ever roars for vigor. They who with might were manifest, and who willingly by their own knowledge told it forth. Evaya Marut, Marutas, this strength of yours, no wisdom comprehendeth, through their gifts greatness. They are moveless as the mountains, whom by the psalm they sing are heard, from lofty heaven, the strong, the brightly shining ones. Evaya Marut, in whose abode there is no mightier one to move them, whose lightnings are as fires, who urge the roaring rivers, he of the mighty stride forth strode. Evaya Marut, out of the spacious dwelling place, their home in common, when he himself hath yoked his emulous strong horses on heights, he cometh forth, joy-giving with the heroes, like your tremendous roar. The rainer with light, flashing strong, speeding, hath made all tremble. Evaya Marut, wherewith victorious ye, self-luminous, press onward with strong reins, decked with gold, impetuous animal weapon. Unbounded is your greatness, ye of mighty power. May your bright vigor be our aid. Evaya Marut, for ye are visible helpers in the time of trouble. Like fires aglow with light, save us from shame and insult. So may the Rudras, mighty warriors, Evaya Marut, with splendid brilliancy, like fires be our protectors. They whose terrestrial dwelling place is wide extended, whom none suspect of sin, whose bands have lofty courage. Come in a friendly spirit, come to us, O Marutas, and hear his call who praises you. Evaya Marut, like car-born men, one-minded with the mighty Vishnu. Keep enmity far from us with your deeds of wonder. Come to our sacrifice, ye holy ones, to bless it. And free from demons, hear our call. Evaya Marut, most excellent like mountains in the air's rayed region. Be irresistible, ye wise, to this man's hater. And even beings that we call elementals, or planetary, or stellar beings, there's more to it. And what does this Evaya prefix mean? Mandala 6. So in 6.1, Agni, 13 verses. Thou first inventor of this prayer, O Agni, worker of marvels, hast become our herald. Thou bull hast made us strength, which none may conquer, strength that shall overcome all other prowess. As priest Samhitas at the seat of worship, furthering us, best offerer, meet for honor. So first to thee, the pious men, turning thy mind to thoughts of ample riches, in thee still watching, they have followed riches, who goest with much wealth, as with an army. The radiant Agni, lofty, fair to look on, worshipped with marrow, evermore resplendent. They who approached the gods' abode with homage, eager for glory, won them perfect glory. Yea, they gained even sacrificial titles, and found delight in thine auspicious aspect. On earth the people magnify thee greatly, thee their celestial and terrestrial riches. Thou, however, must be known as our preserver, father and mother of mankind forever. Dear priest, among mankind, adorable Agni hath seated him, joy-giver, skilled in worship. Let us approach thee, shining in thy dwelling, kneeling upon our knees with adoration, longing for bliss, pure-minded, God-devoted. Agni, we seek thee, such meet to be lauded. Thou, Agni, let us forth our men to battle, refulgent with the heaven's exalted splendor, sage of mankind, all people's lord and master, the bull of men, the center down of blessings, still pressing on, prompting, purified. Agni, the Holy One, the Lord of riches, Agni, immortal, who hath toiled and worshipped, brought thee oblations with his kindled fuel, and well-known sacrifice with adoration, brings every joy with thee to guard and to help him. Mightily let us worship thee, the mighty with reverence, Agni, fuel and oblations, with songs, O Son, of strength, with hymns, with altar. So may we strive for thine auspicious favor, thou who hast covered heaven and earth with splendor, and with thy glories, glorious and triumphant, continue thou to shine on us, O Agni, with strength abundant, rich, and long enduring. Vouchsafe us ever, as man needs, O Vasu, abundant wealth of kind for son and offspring, food noble, plenteous, far from sin and evil. He with us, and fair fame to make us happy. May I obtain much wealth in many places by love of thee, and through thy grace, King Agni, for in thee, bounteous one, in thee, the sovereign Agni, are many boons for him who serves thee. And it's important to realize that some things were done by the spiritual entities that precede us. Like people compose their own scriptures all the time, but it's better to follow the scriptures that the spirit realm has provided. Well, the spiritual realm's done. Anyways, in 6.2, Agni, 11 verses. Thou, Agni, even as Mitra, hast a princely glory of thine own. Thou, active Vasu, makest fame increase like full prosperity. For rarely men pray to thee with sacrifices and with songs. To thee, the friendly courser, seen of all, comes speeding through the air. Of one accord men kindle thee, heaven's signal of the sacrifice. When craving bliss, this race of man invites thee to the solemn rite. Let the man thrive who travails sore in prayer. Far thee, the beautiful. He, with the help of lofty Dyaus, comes safe through straits of enmity. The mortal who, with fuel, lights thy flame, and offers unto thee, supports a house with many a branch, Agni to live 100 years. Thy bright smoke lifts itself aloft, and far extended shines in heaven. For purifier, like the sun, thou beamest with thy radiant glow. For in men's houses thou must be glorified as a well-loved guest. Joyous like an elder in a fort, claiming protection like a son, thou, Agni, like an able steed, art urged by wisdom in the wood. Thou art like wind, food, home art thou, like a young horse that runs astray. Even things imperishable thou, O Agni, like a gazing ox, eatest when host, eternal one. Of thee, the mighty wind, the woods, Agni, thou enterest as priest, the home of men who sacrifice. Lord of the people, prosper them. Accept the offering. Angeras, O Agni, God with Mitra's might, Call hither the favor of the gods from earth and heaven. Bring weal from heaven, that men may dwell securely. May we overcome the foe's malign oppressions. May we overcome them. Through thy help, overcome them. And Yaus is related to Jupiter and Zeus, linguistically and myth-wise. Hymn 6.3, Agna, 8 verses. True guardian of the law, thy faithful servant wins ample light and dwells in peace, O Agna, whom thou as Aruna in accord with Mitra guardest, O God, by banishing his trouble. He hath paid sacrifices, toiled in worship, and offered gifts to wealth-increasing Agna. Him the displeasure of the famous moves not. Outrage and scorn affect not such a mortal. Bright God, whose look is free from stain like Surya's, thou swift but time thou earnestly desirest, hast gear to give us, come with joy at evening, where, child of wood, thou mayest also tarry. Fierce is his gait, and vast is his wondrous body. He champeth like a horse, with bit and bridle, and darting forth his tongue as 'twere a hatchet, burning the woods, smelteth them like a smiter. Archer-like, fain to shoot, he sets his arrow, and whets his splinter like the edge of iron. The messenger of night, with brilliant pathway, like a tree-roosting bird of rapid pinion. In beams of morn he clothes him like the singer, and bright as Mitra with his splendor crackles. Red in the night, by day, the men's possession. Red he belongs to men by day, immortal, like heavens. When, scattering beams, his voice was uttered, among the plants the radiant hero shouted, who with his glow in rapid course came hither to fill both worlds, well-wedded dames with treasure, who, with supporting streams and rays that suit him, hath flashed like lightning, with his native vigor, like the deft maker of the band of Maruthas, the bright impetuous one, hath shone refulgent. And it's not just that we pray and stuff, but that we win our honor and dignity other ways. In other aspects, even in war, but I don't mean that there's wars of mere conquest. I'm not supporting that. Hymn 6.4, Agna, 8 verses. As at man's service of the gods, invoker thou, son of strength, dost sacrifice and worship, so bring for us today all gods together, bring willingly the willing gods, O Agna. May Agna, radiant herald of the morning, meet to be known, accept our praise with favor. Dear to all life, mid-mortal men, immortal, our guest, awake at dawn, is Vedas, whose might the very heavens regard with wonder. Bright as the sun, he clothes himself with luster. He who sends forth eternal purifier hath shattered e'en the ancient works of Asna. Thou art a singer, son, our feast companion. Agna at birth prepared his food and pathway. Therefore vouchsafe us strength, O strength bestower. Win like a king, foes trouble not thy dwelling. Even he who cats his firm hard food with swiftness and overtakes the nights as value kingdoms. May we overcome those who resist thine orders, like a steed casting down the flying foeman, like Surya with his fulgent rays. O Agna, thou overspreadest both the worlds with splendor. Decked with bright color, he dispels the darkness, like Alcidja with clear flame, swiftly flying. We have elected thee as most delightful, for thy beams glow. Hear our great laud, O Agna. The best men praise thee as the peer of Indra in strength, mid gods like value in thy bounty. Now, Agna, on the tranquil paths of riches, come to us for our weal. Save us from sorrow, grant chiefs and bards this boon. May we live happy with hero children through 100 winters. And the fire beings and the humans of the clay beings have a free will. The light beings, while they come willingly, if deity itself, ultimate deity, orders them to. And there's no unwillingly to them. Hymn 6.5, Agna, 7 verses. I invocate your Son of Strength, the youthful, with hymns, the youngest god, whose speech is guileless, sage who sends wealth, comprising every treasure, bringer of many boons, devoid of malice, at eve and morn, thy pious servants bring thee their precious gifts, O priest of many aspects, on whom the purifier all things living as on firm ground their happiness hath established. Thou from of old hast dwelt among these people, by mental power, the cherishor of blessings. Hence sendest thou, O sapient Vedas, to him who serves thee treasures in succession. Agna, whoever secretly attacks us, the neighbor, thou with Mitra's might, who harms us, burn him with thine own steers, for, ever youthful, burning with burning heat, thou fiercest burner. He who serves thee with sacrifice and fuel, with him, O Son of Strength, enchanted praises, shines out immortal, in the midst of mortals, a sage with wealth, with splendor and with glory. Do this, O Agna, when we urge thee, quickly triumphant in thy might, subdue our foemen. When thou art praised with words and decked with brightness, accept this chanted hymn the singers worship. Help us that we may gain this wish, O Agna, gain riches, wealthy one, with store of heroes. Desiring strength from thee, may we be strengthened and win thine eternal glory. In a burning bowl, well, the sun and moon bowl stuff, right? The cold is a sort of cold burn in itself, too. I mean, it's on the same level. If you don't know which one's which, sometimes people can mix them up if they're not aware of whether it's a hot or cold thing. Like you tell somebody that you're going to get burned or you're going to get frostbite, they often can't tell if you're lying and you burn them. But, don't burn people to test people, or don't poke somebody with something frozen just for, Hymn 6.6, Agna. He who seeks furtherance and grace to help him goes to the Son of Strength with newest worship, calling the heavenly priest to share the banquet, who rends the wood, bright with his blackened pathway. White-hued and thundering, he dwells in splendor, most youthful, with the loud-voiced and eternal. Agna, most veriform, the purifier, who follows, crunching, many ample forests, incited by the wind thy flames, O Agna, move onward, pure one, pure in all directions, thy most destructive, heavenly Nabaglas, break the woods down and devastate them boldly. Thy pure white horses from their bonds are loosened, O radiant one, they shear the ground beneath them, and far and wide shines out thy flame, and flickers rapidly moving over earth's high ridges. Forth darts the bull's tongue, like the sharp stone weapon, discharged by him who fights to win the cattle. Agna's fierce flame is like a hero's onset. Dread and resistless, he destroys the forest. Thou, with the sunlight of the great impeller, hast boldly overspread the earth's expanses. So drive away with conquering might all perils. Fighting out foemen, burn up those who harm us. Wondrous of wondrous power, give to the singers wealth, wondrous marked, most wonderful, life-giving, wealth bright, a bright one, vast, with mighty heroes. Give with thy bright flames to the man who lauds thee. And that was that was 7 verses. Before that was 7 verses. Before that was 8 verses. Before that was 8 verses. Before that was 11 verses. Before that was 13 verses. Before that was 9 verses. Before that was 6 verses. 6, 4, 8. And so I'm reminded of this oversized spear point thing from like 2 million years ago. And there's all sorts of cults of these oversized weapons, of these whatever weapons. Now, earlier than that, you had early human chipping out rocks and carrying a rock and, to smack an animal with a sharp edge, probably to chase away animals from off a corpse, and then they'd run and hide with the meat that they could grab. Yeah, that's really how humans started meat eating. It wasn't that we started off as agriculturalists and hunters like the Bible shows. 7 verses, hymn 6-7, Acme. Him, messenger of earth and head of heaven, Agne Vaesvanara, born in holy order, the sage, the king, the guest of men, a vessel fit for their mouths, the gods have generated. Him have they praised, midpoint of sacrifices, great cistern of libations, seat of riches, Vaesvanara, conveyor of oblations, ensign of worship, have the gods engendered. From thee, O Agne, springs the mighty singer, from thee come heroes who subdue the foemen. O King Vaesvanara, bestow thou on us excellent treasures, worthy to be longed for. To thee, immortal, when to life thou sprayest, all the gods sing for joy as to their infant. They by their mental powers were made immortal, Vaesvanara, when thou shonest from thy parents. Agne Vaesvanara, no one hath ever resisted these thy mighty ordinances. When thou, arising from thy parents' bosom, foundest the light for days, appointed coursers. The summits of the heaven are traversed through and through by the immortal's light, Vaesvanara's brilliancy. All creatures in excellence rest upon his head. The 7 swift-flowing streams have grown like branches forth. Vaesvanara, who measured out the realms of air, sage, very wise, who made the lucid spheres of heaven, the undeceivable, who spread out all the worlds, keeper is he and guard of immortality. Now, once we realize duality, well, there's grades of duality that we should probably look into considering. And this includes both spiritual and non-spiritual worlds. Well, the spiritual presence is with the other, but 6-8, Acne, 7 verses. At the Vedas holy gathering, I will tell aloud the conquering might of the swift red-hued steer. A pure and pressure hymn flows to Vaesvanara, even as for Agne, lovely Soma is made pure. That Agne, when in loftiest heaven he sprung to life, guardian of holy laws, kept and observed them well. Exceeding wise, he measured out the firmament. Vaesvanara attained to heaven by mightiness. Wonderful Mitra propped the heaven and earth apart, and covered and concealed the darkness with his light. He made the 2 bowls part asunder like 2 skins. Vaesvanara put forth all his creative power. The mighty seized him in the bosom of the floods. The people waited on the king who should be praised as envoy of Vivasvat. Matarisvan brought Agne Vaesvanara hither from far away, in every age bestow upon the singer's wealth, worthy of holy synods, glorious ever new. King undecaying, as it were, with sharpened bolt, smite down the sinner like a tree with lightning flash. Do thou bestow, O Agne, on our wealthy chiefs, rule with good heroes, undecaying, bending not, so may we win for us strength. Vaesvanara, 100-fold, 1,000-fold, O Agne, by thy help. O thou who dwellest in 3 places, helper, keep with effective guards our princely patrons. Keep our band, Agne, who have brought these presents. Lengthen their lives, Vaesvanara, when lauded. Some of the rites are to be known, some of them are sacred. But all of them should be treated as completely sacred. Hymn 6-9, Acne, 7 verses. One half of the day is dark, and bright the other. Both atmospheres move on by sage devices. Agne Vaesvanara, when born as sovereign, hath with his lustre overcome the darkness. I know not either warp nor woof. I know not the web they weave when moving to the contest, whose son shall here speak words that must be spoken without assistance from the Father near him. For both the warp and woof he understandeth, and in due time shall speak what should be spoken, who knoweth as the immortal world's protector, descending, seeing with no aid from the other. He is the priest, the first of all, behold him. Mid mortal men, he is the light immortal. Here was he born, firm-seated in his station, immortal, ever waxing in his body. A firm light hath been set for men to look on. Among all things that fly, the mind is swiftest. All gods of one accord, with one intention, move unobstructed to a single purpose. Mine ears unclose, to hear, mine eye to see him. The light that harbors in my spirit broadens. Far roams my mind, whose thoughts are in the distance. What shall I speak? What shall I now imagine? All the gods bowed them down in fear before thee, Agni, when thou wast dwelling in the darkness. But Esvanara be gracious to assist us. May the immortal favor us and help us. Now, we have examples in the physical world, the light beings, um, the physical world in both, any aspect of it, but particularly in some of the humans. Hymn 610, Agni, 7 verses. Install at sacrifice, while the rite advances your pleasant heavenly Agni, meet for praises, with hymns, for he illumines us. Install him, he, Vedas, makes our rites successful. Hear this laud, radiant priest of many aspects, O Agni, with the fires of mankind enkindled. Laud which bards send forth, pure as sacred butter, strength to this man as 'twere for self-advantage. Mid mortal men, that singer thrives in glory, who offers gifts with hymns of praise to Agni, and the god wondrous bright with wondrous succors helps him to win a stable filled with cattle. He at his birth, whose path is black behind him, filled heaven and earth with far apparent splendor, and he himself hath been, through night's thick darkness, made manifest by light, the purifier. With thy most mighty aid, confer, O Agni, wonderful wealth on us and on our princes, who stand preeminent, surpassing others in liberal gifts, in fame and hero virtues. Agni, accept this sacrifice with gladness, which, seated here, the worshipper presenteth. Fair hymns hadst thou among the Brahvajas, and helpest them to gain abundant vigor. Scatter our foes, increase our store. May we be glad 100 winters with brave sons. Now, is it helpest instead of helpest? And it's definitely be glad instead of he glad. And I'm not sure whether it's the printing that I have in hand or the old book that messes that up. But remember, when we do our worshipful acts, law of attraction and repulsion is what we're after.